Hey guys, okay, so I just read an article about low sperm counts and infertility rates going up. I came across an article and it is called Why Are California Women Giving Birth at Record Low Rates? Let's see why. I kind of got a feeling of what this article is going to say. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, well, women are waiting at a later age to give birth. Women are having trouble with finding good men to have babies with, or let's see, they are more career driven than having kids. Okay, so let's get into this article and see what it says. Oops. Okay. The pace of motherhood in California is slowing and its members are aging. A shift demographers expect to continue and contribute to far-reaching and uncertain changes in decades to come. So, researchers are already predicting that this low birth rate is going to continue. But my thing is, why would it continue? I know I read an article, I don't know if it was earlier this year or if it was last year, where the Pope was telling women to have more babies. America seems to think that we are a Christian-based country, so why aren't they listening to the Pope? So basically, their priorities are out of whack. They're putting their careers before having kids and not listening to the Pope, apparently. Let's see. Last year, the state reached a historic milestone, the lowest birth rate on record. Wow. 12.4 births per 1,000 people? What? That was last year? 12.4 birth rates per 1,000 people. So that means out of 1,000 people, only 12 people had a child. The rate was 12.3 for Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. And the Southern California News Group analysts of state projections show the region's rate could fall another 24% by 2040. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have found the culprit for all the craziness that's happening in this country, because obviously white people are struggling to have children. But wait a minute. Now, California has more Hispanics there than they do white people. So is this also affecting the Hispanic group? Let's see if they identify by race, like who is affecting more. California outpaced the nation by another key measure, declining fertility rates and what is considered childbearing age for women by the National Center for Health Statistics, 15 to 44. According to the provisional state data, California last year saw 60.5 births per 1,000 women, compared to an all-time low 62 births per 1,000 nationwide. Oh my goodness. Okay, I knew they were going to mention the decline in fertility rates as one of them, but a lot of that has to do with the men. Their sperm count is extremely low. So I'm thinking this is a case where these women, they may want to have kids, but their men simply cannot get them pregnant. Other trends also point to the coming changes in California's maternal future. Fertility rates among California women under 29 fell from 1990 to 2015, most sharply by 74% among teens 15 to 19, according to the State Department of Finance data. In contrast, rates for women aged 35 to 39 and 40 to 45 rose 45% and 67% respectively. After graduating college and moving to Orange County, Melissa Branch, 38, of Newport Beach, wasn't sold on the idea of settling down and having kids. See, this is the thing. Majority of white women honestly do not want to have kids. Let me tell you, I've worked with several white people who stated they did not want to have kids. I mean, it's just simply not a desire for many white people for some reason. Now, whenever I talk to Hispanics, everybody has kids. Black people, everybody has kids. But there's one thing that I notice about white people. Most white people honestly do not want to have kids. They say that kids are way too expensive. They say that they wouldn't be able to concentrate on their careers or do whatever they want. Wow. Let's see what Melissa has to say. She says, when I was in my younger 20s, the only things I was hearing were high divorce rates and failed marriages. I made sure I did everything I wanted to do first before settling down, because once you settle down and have a marriage, those choices are no longer yours. I mean, she's right. She's right. But, me personally, I always knew growing up that I was going to have kids at a young age. And when I say young age, I'm not talking about as a teenager. But I always knew that I wanted to be a mother in my early 20s. That was like my number one priority. Before I figured out what I wanted to do as a career, I knew that, okay, well, I want to be a young mom. I did not want to wait until I was older before having kids. I just felt like when I had kids, everything else in my life would fall into place. I think that's like the main reason. I think there's like a spiritual disconnect that many of these women have. They feel like, well, I need to get finances together before I bring a child. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying, you shouldn't have, your degree and, at least get started in your career before having kids. I'm not saying that that's wrong. That is the right thing to do. But for me, being a mother was always like the top of my list. I got my degree, got my education. I started, working, within my career field, and having a child was like the next one. Well, finding the right man, of course, was the next one, and then having a child. But I never wanted to wait until I was in my 30s to have a child. Let's see. Looking ahead, state officials expect far fewer teen moms and by 2040 higher rates of birth among women in their late 30s than women in their late 20s. Let's see. Okay, this is just some more information. Okay. Further down in the article, it says birth still more than replace deaths. Factoring in immigration and longer lifespans, the 4-county region is estimated to add 2.7 million people over the next two decades. Okay, but that has nothing to do with the birth rate. See, immigrants who come in, they're going to have kids. But the people who are American citizens, the predominantly white areas, they're not having kids. So, of course, the population will continue to grow. However, a certain demographic is going to be affected by this change. I think this is why Trump is trying to kick a lot of these immigrants out of the country. Let's see. But demographers warn the change in birth rate and population patterns may lead to smaller workforce that will have to support more retirees, straining pension and healthcare systems. The causes of the decline in birth rates and delays in childbearing are both economic and a result of changing societal roles for women, who have more career and educational educational opportunities than in the past. Southern California's cost of living also continues to outpace wages, and owning or renting a house to start a family now often requires 2 household earners. If young workers can't take time off work to raise kids, they'll push parenthood back or rethink it altogether, said Dow Myers, who is a professor of urban planning and demography at the USC, I'm guessing that's University of Southern California. And because many women are starting families later, they also are having fewer kids over their reproductive life because they have less time. Myers, a leading expert on California's changing population and its impact, said he has been surprised that the economic recovery coming out of the Great Recession hasn't led to an uptick in the birth rate. It should be increasing, not decreasing, he said. The older generation depends on the success of younger generations, Myers noted. There's a need to fill jobs left by retirees as well as the need for young homebuyers to meet the prices of older sellers who have large shares of wealth in home equity. Orange County is the poster child in all of California for the aging problem. Really? Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that because isn't Orange County like the wealthy part of California? And that with that show that used to come on back in the day, the OC, it was like based in Orange County, right? So I guess like majority of the wealthy people are actually the older people. Let's see. It used to have low dependency ratios in the 1980s when Orange County is a bastion for children with very few retirees. Orange County's population has aged dramatically since then. It went from being younger than the rest of the state to being older than the rest of the state. Wow. Myers said, and now repeals millennials because the cost of living is so high. Yeah, it's a pretty wealthy county. But yeah, all in all, wow. Okay, white women, y'all gonna have to start having some more babies. If you don't have babies, then there will be no future. I understand that you want to get out here, get your education, and get your career going, but why are you doing all of this work if you have no one to pass it down to? I mean, that's just the bottom line.